Here I am today with my new friend Scott, who's just started an exciting new business here in Phuket, a place which I don't know so well, but Scott knows actually pretty well, I guess. You've been here. You've been here a long, long time, if you don't mind me saying so.
Yeah.
Scott has started a new business with his partner here about not even a year ago now.
Not even, yeah. We officially opened on 1st of September last year.
Yeah.
And it was an idea, a concept that we had. We'd been working towards it for just under a year. The whole idea of it was that we lived in Phuket for a long time, as you had mentioned.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with the other bars, the other restaurants, things like that. But what we wanted to do was just to create something that was a little bit different, something unique. That sort of stood apart from the rest.
Yeah.
And the idea behind Tank Throttle is we've wanted to create a hub for motorcycle enthusiasts. Somewhere, if you, like you know yourself, motorbike enthusiasts, people who love motorbikes, we like to talk about tires, we like to talk about jackets, we like to talk about helmets, and the way that we refer to the normal people, don't necessarily want to do that. So.
Surprise, surprise.
So we wanted to create a safe space, for guys like us, to come in and talk about those things, On top of that, the whole idea is about community, about, trying to, like I said, create this hub somewhere for people to come and hang out where they feel comfortable, but also we do Sunday rides, we rent bikes, anything related to motorbikes, we deal with that. And one thing that we're very proud of is the actual bike wash.
Yes.
Our bike detailing centre that we have. We've got a fantastic reputation with that. Even at the minute, even though we're only 6-7 months in with Google Maps reviews, we're at 150.
Wow.
5-star reviews. So
That's very good.
we're doing a good job, and the boys are working hard and really setting the standards very high for them.
Yeah. So if you had to try and encapsulate everything your business is or should be or will be in one sentence, what would it be? It's about 5 different things, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're bike wash,
motorbike rental.
Okay.
Sunday rides. Bike storage.
Yeah.
And we're an event space also.
Yes.
So between all of that, like I'd said, the best way that we can try to describe it, or if you try and bring it all into one place, which is quite difficult, but if we try and bring it all into one sentence or 2 words, it is really just a hub, a hub or a central point for motorbike enthusiasts.
Yeah.
People passing through, like for Bike Week, or people who are living here locally. What we want to do is provide them a service that hasn't been available before.
No. And last but not least, perhaps, you've got the bar right behind you there, which I think we can see.
Yeah.
So the logo's a bit blocked by these lovely Royal Enfields we've got next to you. So you've also got several bikes on show, not just for show, but for rental.
Yeah.
And I should maybe explain how I came across your business. And that was because about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I decided maybe I should trade up my fantastic Royal Enfield Classic 350 for one of these 650s. You've got one right behind you there, which I think is the one you ride yourself.
It is indeed, yeah.
The Royal Interceptor, the Royal Enfield Interceptor 650. So I thought, well, it'd be nice maybe if I get the right price for my bike and I get the right price for the one I find to swap, to move up a little bit for long distance tours. I'm thinking mine. I mean, frankly, it's great fun to ride, especially on those backcountry roads. But if you have to do long trips on highways, like I did recently coming down from Chiang Rai down here to this part of Thailand, then it's nice to have a bike that maybe goes more than 100 kilometers an hour.
Well, this is it,
yeah. So, and then none of these bikes is a racing bike, but I think yours cruises a little bit faster than mine.
It does.
Anyway, that's the backstory, because I started looking on Facebook, as people do in Thailand, for a nice bike, and very quickly, in quick succession, 2 beautiful Interceptor 650s popped up on my Facebook page and in the marketplace. One was sold within 24 hours, which at the time I thought that's very suspicious, but having seen the bikes now in the flesh, I can understand how quickly you sell them here. And the second bike was sold within a week, which is also not bad going. And you know, when you look at them and see them, say, close up and realize the work that you've put into them, not just in using your wash facilities, but also in the customization that you do.
Yeah.
Because I think you told me you've got 1 or 2 partners that you work with very closely.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, very much. So what we are, first of all, is that we're very fortunate and very, very proud actually to be a Royal Enfield partner when it comes to the rental side of the business. So we get a lot of support from them when it comes to marketing, pricing, all of that sort of stuff as you'd expect in a partnership. And they've been fantastic. As I said, we're very, very proud of that. What has also come from that is that as Tank and Throttle, we are now seen to be a very strong part of the Royal Enfield community here in Phuket and the surrounding areas. So even when it comes to the bikes you mentioned, the 2 Interceptors that we had, those 2 Interceptors, they came from other members of the Royal Enfield community that knew us, knew that we worked to a high standard, and the business is concrete. So they trusted us, is what I'm trying to say, to give us the bikes and sell them on their behalf.
Okay, because you could say that might even be on the sort of number 6 or 7 or 8 on the list. That would be like a commission sales.
Yeah.
So yours is a great environment stage, if you like. You've got a couple of Ducatis. We can't see, they're out of shot here. Some beautiful Ducatis on one side of the building here. So, like you say, you had a couple of Royal Enfield enthusiasts who entrusted you to sell on their behalf. So you put their bikes on show. And like I say, one sold it within 24 hours, I think. 24 hours of going in Facebook.
Yeah.
And the second one went within about a week. Before I came down here to Phuket, I was quite disappointed. But when I saw your bike and the work and the details and the changes you made, you've got the exhaust, you've got the aftermarket exhaust, you've got some fantastic hidden, I call them hidden, I didn't even see them before you turn them on, hidden indicators on the back of that bike, little LED, little buttons on the back, which I didn't see until you turn them on, and a great aftermarket custom seat, and you use the DNA air filter, I think. Right. And all these things add together to make it a really great bike, I think.
Well, it all came from, before we had Tank and Throttle and before we started the business up, I had this bike. And when I got this bike at the beginning, it was black and red, and I bought it as a standard bike.
Okay.
Do you want to stop with this?
No, it's okay. I think we won't.
So we bought this as a standard bike. It was black and red, and we got it from the showroom. And what I wanted to do is, I've been riding bikes since I was 8 years old. And as you do this and as you go through, you always like to customize a bike. But when I talk about customizing a bike, it's more making it your own. So it's unique. It's my bike or your bike. It's one that stands out from the crowd.
Yeah.
So when I got this bike and I started to go through the customization of that, I found that it was really quite difficult to get the parts and things that I wanted to see and have here in Phuket. So I reached out further and went to Bangkok, where I found one company in particular that are a specialist for the Interceptors, the Royal Enfield Interceptor. And this company, WSW, they've worked with me since the start. They've been fantastic. Now that I've done my bike, I find that by using their parts, it's quality, the price is very, very good. Yeah. And what I've been able to do is carry my passion forward for customizing bikes and actually sharing this with the Royal Enfield community. So even with the 2 bikes that you mentioned that we had sold quite quickly, part of the reason I think that they sold quickly was because of the upgrades that we given to the bike. Yes. Now, all the upgrades were done by us. Yeah. So it wasn't a case of when we were selling it that we were selling an unknown, or we didn't understand the quality of the parts that were put in there. Everything we put on there, we knew and we trust ourselves. Yeah. So when people come to buy it, as you can imagine, they can feel our passion for it. Yeah. They can feel that we do have an understanding of the bikes, and we do want to make the best job possible. So when we're talking to people about buying the bike and we can tell them the full history of the bike, this is what will probably help to sell them so quickly. I agree. I can understand that. And then, so you got a full service setup here, really. So Scott, we've got 3 different Royal Enfields here in front of us. Yeah. And right up front, facing me here is the Hunter, the relatively new
Royal Enfield Hunter. Now, what are you doing with this bike?
Yeah, with this one, Patrick, this is a good example of one of the rental bikes that we have.
Yeah.
So this is a Hunter 350cc.
Yeah.
It's absolutely perfect for the island. It has a lot of torque, super comfy, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
So this is one of our more popular bikes, even the same as the white one that was in the background in the previous chat.
In our discussion, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So with this one, what we've done with this is with the bikes that we rent, we want to customize them a little bit.
Yeah.
And the idea behind that is that we want to offer more than just a grocery getter and something that just gets you around the island.
Yeah.
What we want to do is when people rent the bikes, we want them to have something that adds in. In the world that we live in with social media and Instagram and, and so all this sort of stuff, we want the bike to be very much a part of their experience while they're here in Phuket.
Yeah, yeah.
So upgrades for this, like bar end mirrors, we've upgraded the seat on this. This is actually the touring seat that comes directly from Royal Enfield, but we've also upgraded the exhaust, put engine covers on and so on. We don't, with the rental bikes, we do not modify the engines. We keep the engines as they are.
Yeah.
The way that we think about that is that someone much more intelligent than us has designed this engine to do a particular job and work the way that it is. Yeah. Yeah. And with the experience that we have, the 350 engine is a big winner.
Yeah.
So with this one, this is very much one of our rental bikes. But as you said at the start, they're very new. This one's 2023.
Yes.
Yeah. So as much as it's a classic style, it's a modern classic in that it's a very new bike.
Yes.
So that would be the first one there.
Yeah.
So this is from the
just to finish on the rental thing, Scott, you just told me a few minutes ago that you've actually got 9, is that right?
Yeah.
And you've only got a couple in the showroom today because most of they're out on the road.
They are,
where they should be, I guess. And you said you've got the 650 and you're the only people in Thailand who are offering the 650 as a rental bike.
We're, like you'd say, the only people they offer the 650 engines. We actually have the Interceptor and the Super Meteor for rent.
Oh.
And again, across the country, most people who are using or working with the Royal Enfields offer the 350. Something unique for Tank and Throttle is that we have the bigger engines.
Yes.
And something that's quite good about it is that even with these bigger engines from the rental side, they're mainly out on long-term rentals.
Yes.
A lot of them. So as much as there are bikes, we don't really see them very often.
You don't see them very often, but what I was going to say is what people maybe don't appreciate, well, one of the first things that bikers notice when they come and live in Thailand and can't bring their own bike with them. Some people have got bikes they would desperate to hang on to, but basically it's impossible to bring your own bike into the country. And when they go looking for a new replacement bike, as they basically have to, one of the first things they discover, with very few exceptions, is that almost none of the motorbike dealers will allow you to even ride the bikes, even for 10 minutes, let alone like they do in other countries for half a day or even a whole day. So actually the opportunity to rent a bike like you're offering here is one of the few ways to really get to know a bike. And I had my own experience with that in Chiang Mai. There is also a Royal Enfield rental company, but they don't have, like you just said, they don't have a 650. When I went there, they mainly had the old classic 500, which I rented for the day. Was an experience. I'll put it that way. It was an experience. I know that the classic 500 has big fans, but for me, I just kept thinking to myself, I'm riding a tractor. This is a tractor, you know, a huge 500cc thumper. But that was the first Royal Enfield I rented. And then I rented the classic when they got it. And I think that was actually instrumental in encouraging me to go and buy my classic. The chance to take it for the day. It's a big difference when you're riding it for 20 minutes.
Huge difference.
So this is one of the services you're offering, is the opportunity to get to know a bike before you actually make that order and buy one.
You know, even in the short time that we've been open, it's been exactly that. We have been a big part in the decision-making process for 3 guys in particular that all rented the Interceptor and all went out and bought one after renting it. So it's exactly as you had said, you know, to give people time where they're not rushed, maybe more than 10 minutes. It's part of the service that we provide. And you know, when people come in and they talk about the bikes, and it's just as you had said, they're maybe thinking about it. What we do is we say to them, you know, we'll take the bike for a day, you know, and if you don't like it after a day, you'll know you don't like it. But in the majority of cases, especially with the Enfields, they love it.
It's a great service. I don't know whether Royal Enfield, specifically in your case, maybe they should appreciate how much you're basically helping them to sell bikes by allowing people to rent for the day. You know?
Exactly. And we get a lot of support with Royal Enfield on that.
Oh,
they do refer them across.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so that's your still very new looking rental bike. But you see, you've got if I get the camera to show that, you've got a nice bit of branding here on the front guard there, the Tank and Throttle guard. And in the middle here, you've got an older, this is the 2019, I think, 19.
It is.
Interceptor 650.
Yeah. So this one is a project bike.
Okay.
One of the Tank and Throttle regulars, let's say.
Okay.
She bought this bike.
Uh-huh.
And she's gone back. She spends 6 months a year here.
Uh-huh.
And she's gone back to Finland where she lives.
Okay.
And what she had done is she had rented the bike. She'd been on some Sunday rides with us. She understood that she liked the bikes very much.
Okay.
So we were able to find one for her, and we found this one.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is it's a project bike.
Yeah.
So this is it's a base for what we can work on. For this we're going to change the tank. We're going to change the exhausts. We'll change the suspension. We'll change the indicators, change the seat. And again, when we're finished with it, it will look completely different.
Yeah.
The idea with this bike is that we want to go with a black and gold thing.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And what we'll do as well is for the painting on the tank, we have a specialist here who can help us with that actually does the painting on the tank by hand.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so for the finer details, the likes of the logo and so on, this will all be done color-coded, which really adds to the feel of the bike and give it that classic feel as well, or the classic look, I should say.
Yeah.
But with this, again, the only upgrade that we'll do engine-wise or mechanically will be the DNA air filters that we put into all the bikes. Yeah. So it is. So this one, the handlebar will change as well. So it'll be a very pretty bike. And this is something that we will be keeping people updated on with our own social media and stuff.
That's great.
Well,
yeah. Because I think that's the sort of bike that I will probably buy myself very soon, I hope. In terms of age, 2019, there'll be a second-hand Interceptor I don't know yet which one it'll be, and colors and that sort of thing. But having seen your bikes, especially the next one we look at here, and for example the seat, because I think it's the same WSF,
it's WSW
seat, custom seat that you have on your own bike.
Yeah.
That's the sort of thing I can imagine doing on the yet to be found and yet to be bought 650, which I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So what have you done? This is a completed project, isn't it?
This one, this was one of our riders, Luca.
Yeah.
He originally owned the bike.
Yeah.
And what we did was we did some upgrades on it for him. First of all, we added the fly screen, so the small windscreen at the front.
Yes.
What we added then was also the underbar mirrors.
Oh yeah.
Which are here as well, which are a really nice touch.
Yeah.
Much better than the bar end mirrors because there's a lot more, you can see a lot better.
Really?
The visibility from the mirrors.
Are these the same as you have on your own bike?
They're exactly the same.
And they're also from WSW.
They're from WSW as well.
Okay, well, I think they may end up on my bike. Okay.
With this one, we don't need to change the tank because it's an original tank
that's
color.
The latest color from 2024.
And it's absolutely beautiful, so we're just going to keep it as it is.
Yeah.
What we didn't do was change the full exhaust system, so this is a Lowell system from WSW again.
Okay.
And this one, it's more like a flat track feel about the bike, so it's a super short, super aggressive exhaust system on it.
Maybe right at the end for a few seconds we can have a blast, and I'll put the microphone down there just to give an idea what that's like. Okay. So you've got LED. I think it's another thing you changed.
We did. With this one as well, we added the LED indicators, which are the small hidden ones, which are super bright, by the way.
Yeah. You have them on your own bike, don't you?
And then what we did with this also was that we...
these are you see them better from behind, I guess. But when they're not turned on, I looked for them on your bike. So and obviously they were in bright daylight, but at night, those are really bright. Those are much brighter than the originals, I guess.
They are.
And when they're turned off, I looked at your bike, I thought, where's the indicators? Because I'm looking here near the brake light, and I didn't see any. And of course, they're down here at the side. So I think they may end up on my new, yet to be found, yet to be bought Interceptor. Mm-hmm.
And then we added the LED tail light or brake light as well.
And that's probably also brighter than the original.
And the tail tidy, yeah. And again, it just it tapers in the end. It makes it look much more neat.
Yeah,
a little bit more
tidier. Yeah. So yeah, and you've got the DNA air filter in there as well.
Yeah, this one has the DNA air filter already.
So that one sort of makes the bike breathe a little bit better.
Yeah.
I think my mic off. We'll hold it down here a little bit, so maybe see. That gets the neighbors out of bed in the morning.
Well, yeah, according to Luca, it did. But with this one, this is one of the bikes that you had your eye on as well.
That is indeed. That's the second. That was the second of the two, I think, wasn't it? Was this the one with 4,000 kilometers on it?
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Yep.
And say, especially those little mirrors, which you can see my ugly face in at the moment. I'm going to be tempted to put them on my old new bike or new old bike. They look great. Yeah. Actually, what's great is I think they go really well with the clocks. They put those. They like. It's like having 4 clocks when you look at it from here. Isn't it? But yeah, that's great. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just do a little. Let's do a little. Okay, shot with the 3 bikes from here.
But this one as well. Even though with us selling it, we're storing the bike for the owner.
Yeah.
With this, what we'll do is the owner of the bike is in Phuket on a monthly basis, and what he's asked us to do is look after the bike for him. So this is going to be, well, it's not the first, but we've done a few storage, but this is the first one that we've sold, and then we look after the bike. On top of that, what we're going to do is any sort of maintenance or tire changes or anything that needs to be done, we'll do that for the owner. Yeah. So like I'd said earlier on, so that when he comes back to get the bike is sitting on its toes, it's ready to go, and he doesn't have to worry about anything. Right.
You've been here many years. You've been here how long? 17 years?
Yeah, 18 years.
18 years in Phuket.
Yeah.
So for obviously most of that time you weren't here. You didn't have this business. So maybe you could tell us how you came to be here in the first place. What you were doing before you started this.
What brought me here?
Yeah.
Well, before I came to Thailand, I used to work in the motor industry in Northern Ireland, in Belfast.
Okay.
And I worked in that for a number of years, and you know, I was fortunate enough to be quite successful in that. Yeah. But yeah, so as the story goes, I'll tell you it as it is. You know, I was working my way through. We were very, you know, I was successful. The job was going well, but one day, one of my dad's friends, he had a medical issue due to stress. Okay. And obviously in the sales game and in the motor industry, it's quite a stressful industry anyway. Everyone knows that when they get involved. Yeah. But my dad, he came to talk to me about it, and he said, you know, you've got this stress and all this, what about this scuba diving thing that you like? So at that time, I was very much a beginner in scuba diving. I'd been to the Great Barrier Reef, and I'd done like beginner dives. I
was going to say that you're not the best in Northern Ireland. You're not the best in the best part of the world for scuba diving.
It's way too cold. Yeah. I've dived there once since.
So yeah, that's a great story about how you switched from, was it sales, wasn't it, in the motor industry in Belfast, and how you switched from sales in the motor industry in Belfast, and you'd started as a hobby. You started scuba diving as a hobby. Yeah. And then the switch was from the auto trade sales in Belfast into doing a course here in Phuket. Is that what happened? That was like 17 years ago.
I did the courses I needed to do. I did it in Koh Tao.
Okay.
What I'd done was when, as I'd said, I'd been diving as a hobby for a number of times. Nothing serious. Yeah. But I knew that I enjoyed it very much. So from there, it was a case of, I found a couple of different dive centers online that were offering what's commonly known as 0 to hero. So it was a case of coming over and doing all your courses right up to becoming a scuba diving instructor. And as I say, for me, the intention was only to stay for 1 year. So the length of time for doing this was, all the courses should have taken around 3 months. Yeah. So I did that. I went through everything. I went with a dive school called Crystal Dive on Koh Tao, which is one of the bigger dive centers over there. But the experience for me was fantastic. You know, I thoroughly enjoyed every day the diving, of course, but it was the camaraderie, the team of people that I was working with at the time as well. You know, I went through from an open water diver through to becoming a dive master. I worked as a dive master for a number of months, and what that did was that gave me a much better understanding of the diving industry. You know, what went into, what work had to go into getting the boats out on a daily basis, how to treat people, how to talk to people about what's going on. Again, understanding that as much as it was a hobby for me, it was very much, and I was doing it every day. It was a new experience for a lot of people, and how to talk to them about using underwater breathing apparatus and fish that they would see, and it was absolutely amazing. You know, once I got to the instructor level, I was pretty much convinced that was the way that I wanted to go. While I was there, it was again a long time ago. So I was teaching quite large groups, maybe sometimes up to 7 or 8 people in the group. I was teaching dive masters. I was teaching. Every day was different. That's why I loved it. You know, there was no 2 days the same, and the diving industry was very, very good for me. I worked for a couple of different diving centers, just within in Thailand, in South Thailand. But then, unfortunately, totally my own fault, I got injured. As all scuba divers know, you can never dive with a cold or if you're congested. Unfortunately, I did, and I perforated my eardrum. So scuba diving then became, with it comes the equalization and actually going under the water, it became a little bit uncomfortable. So I had to look at other options. I very much wanted to stay a part of the scuba diving industry. So I started to work for a distributor, first of all, a distributor for diving equipment here. And the first brand was Mares, actually. I worked for them for in around a year. And then I moved to another distributor that represented Aqualung. Now, for that distributor, I worked for them and worked for the brand for Aqualung for 13 years.
And that's a really big brand, isn't it? And I think you told me, and I know you told me 2 days ago, that it was founded originally by Jacques Cousteau.
That's exactly it. So he created the Aqualung, and then the company Aqualung was created off the back of that. So Jacques Cousteau was the founder, of our company. Him and a man called Émile Gagnon were the two guys who actually invented the demand valve in the regulators. And this is what allows everyone to enjoy recreational diving now. Before they invented that, all the regulators were free flow. So it was constant air, and you had to sip air off it. Whereas now with the regulators that we use today, they have the demand valve. So what this means is when you demand air, when you go to breathe in, it then gives you the air. But when you stop, it will stop the air also. So it's allowed. It's much more comfortable. But again, it's allowed us to stay underwater for longer. Also.
Much longer, Which I guess the whole question of coming up, decompression. It's also easier if you've got more time, isn't it? So that gives you more time for the decompression, which means you can go down deeper, I guess.
Well, it does, and it's, again, going through the courses, and if for anyone who's done any of the scuba diving courses, we use tables at the beginning, and now we have dive computers that monitor all of this. It's called DCS, decompression sickness. So they monitor our times to make sure that we stay away from that and that we actually stay safe.
It is.
So, as I say, I moved from diving into the other side of selling equipment, and then in the end, I was the area manager, regional manager, for Asia Pacific for the brand Aqualung.
And that's a big region, especially for this business. I mean, this activity. Because I'm guessing that this part of the world accounts for the lion's share of scuba diving, more or less, isn't it? Southeast Asia, Pacific. Australia, and all those exotic islands with the Japanese wartime shipwrecks and all that stuff. That's a lot of it's down here, isn't it?
There is, there's a lot of it here in Asia Pacific, but there's a huge part of the market is actually in America too. But Asia Pacific it's definitely on the wish list for a lot of divers.
So 13 years with with Aqualung, is that right?
Yep.
Okay, and was that your last job you were doing in this business? Okay. So I'm guessing it was like sometime last year you had the idea of, or maybe just before, you had the idea of starting your own business?
Yeah. It was just before. It was really to do with COVID.
Yeah.
You know, it was during COVID, the world changed a lot.
Yeah.
Even for me in my bubble, my world changed a lot.
Yeah.
And what I'd always wanted to do something with motorbikes, and it really gave me the motivation to push on it.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's around the corner.
Yeah.
And I think if we learned anything from COVID, we definitely learned that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So from there, that sort of, as I said, it gave me the motivation to push. The concept that I had, you know, working together with my partner and with my business partner and with my wife.
Yeah.
We then pushed forward on this. We found the premises, we pushed ahead, and we made it a reality, actually.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. I'm very proud of that. Yeah.
I was talking to your business partner Rocky yesterday, and he told me all the things you had to do in quite a short time last year in getting the business ready.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a busy time for you too.
When we find the premises, the actual premises themselves were perfect.
Yeah.
It used to be a bike wash before.
Yeah.
Only it was a Thai man on his own.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I used to be a customer. And as I said to you, you know, I'd been looking at different options of how to do something myself.
Yeah.
And I'd asked the guy, you know, if he needed a partner, or if I could get involved with it along those lines. And he was quite honest and quite straight in the fact that he said no. And he said, I'd much rather if you just took the business on and bought it off me. You know?
Okay.
So one thing led to another, and as we're sat here today, that's
great.
What happened.
Yeah.
When we got the building, it needed a lot of work. So we had to do a lot of renovations on the building.
Yeah.
The building itself, it used to be open.
Yeah.
You know, and what we had to do was close everything off. What we did as well was give it a bit more. Give it a bit more of a European or Western feel.
Yeah.
This is the feedback we've had from customers who come in, and this is what we kind of plan to do with it also. So we wanted to, like I said at the beginning, it's to make something make it stand out from the crowd, something unique. Yeah. So to do the renovations, that took us 4 or 5 months.
Yes.
To get that up and running. And then from there, we could start the business and get it going properly from there. As I say, the official start date was in September. We had a huge party. For that, we had around 75 people here for the party, so that was nice. That was a big night. It was great. It was a lot of fun, actually. Yeah. Apart from the fact we had a huge storm. At that time, which was just making its way across Southeast Asia, and decided that on that particular day that was the day it was going to be in Phuket. Okay. So as much as we have a beer garden and everything outside, we actually had the 75 people inside, which was actually not as challenging as it sounded. It was a lot of friends of you know, myself and my partners as well from the biking community. So everybody was very understanding. And one thing that we were, it was great to see was how many people still came on their motorbikes, even though there was like a typhoon outside, you know. Yeah. For everybody coming up, they're all rocking up with all their full wet gear on, and you know, they had made a commitment to come, and this is what they were saying, you know, we'd made a commitment, we wouldn't let you down, and here we are. And still to this day, they're coming in on a regular basis. So we're very, very, very grateful to those guys. Well, absolutely.
You got off with a bang, as it were, at the beginning. So, and it's been rumbling ever since.
It is.
So it's been very good. And you've got a couple of, I think you still got a couple of new extra ideas as well up your, I say your non-existent sleeve. It's much too hot to be wearing this long sleeve shirt, but you've got a couple of other ideas, I think, as well that you're hoping to develop.
Yeah. The latest one that we're doing actually is we're going with a new idea. It's totally unique for Phuket, and it's taken us a little bit of work to get it. But what we're looking at is we've created an event called Moto TNT.
Okay.
Right? So everyone knows about MotoGP, Moto3, Moto2. So we've got Moto TNT, and the idea behind this is, and we wanted to create a track day. Right? Here in Thailand, track days, especially not just in Thailand, but in Phuket, it's quite difficult logistics-wise to set these things up. So what we've been able to do is we had a good chat with the Honda Safety Riding Centre, or Safety Riding Park, excuse me, on the island here in Talai.
Yeah.
And we explained to them what we wanted to do, and they were very supportive of the idea. And they've now allowed us to rent their facility and to push forward with Moto TNT. The idea is that we will do a gymkhana. We have the track for the whole day. If you haven't seen it, look it up online, because again, it's something that here in Phuket, and for what they've done there, it's really impressive.
Okay.
So we've been able to rent the entire track for the day. So we have it from 9 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon.
Okay.
And what we'll do is in the morning from 9 o'clock until 12, we're going to run a gymkhana. So what this will do is we'll refresh skills for everyone. So we'll go through, we'll refresh skills for sure, but the idea of it is to get people used to the bikes. What we're going to be doing is, instead of people bringing their own bikes, everyone will have the same bike. And these are bikes that are supplied by the training park itself. Okay. So all of us will have the brand new MSX Groms, the little 125.
Oh, yeah.
So all of the bikes are manual. Okay, so they're geared, and this is why we want to use them. We want to bring guys who are driving, like we said, from the community, who are riding bikes all the time, and we want to give them something different. You know, so we're very lucky in that respect to have Kid, who works with us as well. He's part of the team here at Tank Throttle. And Kid is a motorbike instructor and has been for a long time. So he can train people up to the advanced level, which is just below pro. Okay, so he can cover everything from there. What we also have is, for the training day, we will also have one of the instructors from the centre itself will come and join us. So again, we have, when it comes to the side of getting value into the course and the gymkhana in the morning, we have 2 instructors there with 10 people. So it's 2 instructors, or 2 people, if you understand, 5 people there are instructors. So they're getting a high quality of service from that as well. The big thing that we want to do afterwards, which makes it more unique, is that we will do lunch, and then after lunch we'll actually do time trials. So they've allowed us to do time trials on their track. Now, as we know, boys will be boys, and we're all a little bit competitive. So so this is something that we're looking forward to. This is where we'll have the Moto TNT leaderboard as well, so everything will be on there. We'll keep it in the clubhouse here so people can see it. And we intend and have the plan to do this every month. So we do the Sunday rides every Sunday. But one of those Sunday rides will be the Moto TNT track day.
Oh, that's great.
So it is. So it just sets us apart a little bit. Some of the other stuff that we're looking at as well is that, yes, we're going into motorbike sales, as you'd mentioned earlier on, and this is something that we need to develop, but we're very much at the beginning of that. And something else that we're going to do that's in the plan is to offer professional level motorbike story. Now, the reason I say that is that the professional level is what makes it different. Again, nothing wrong with the other guys out there who are offering a service. Right? You know, you can ride your bike in, you park it somewhere, you put a cover over it, and it stays there until you come back. What we want to do is we want to up it a bit. You know, we want to offer a premium service on this, because in the majority of cases, you know, a man's motorbike is his toy. You know, and it's something that we love and something that we have passion about. So what we want to do is we're going to offer a higher level. We're only going to work with a limited number of bikes. So it won't be for everyone. So it's a case of first come, first serve, but at the same time, it's also going to be for the right sort of people. You know, the people who have these Ducatis, BMW GSs, you know, these higher end marks that really want to do it. And what we'll do is we'll create an air-conditioned environment to keep the bikes in. All of the bikes will have the trickle feed chargers, so that when you come back to collect your bike, there's no issues with the battery. Okay? Depending, you know, some people can be away for 2 weeks, some people could be away for 2 months, 3 months. And then what we'll do is, because we have the detailing center also, we'll give the bike a clean. You know, the owner of the bike lets us know maybe 2 days before he comes back. And what we'll do then is we'll have the bike ready, sitting at the door, looking beautiful with the engine running. So all they have to do is come and pick the bike up, smile on their face, and they drive away.
That's a great idea.
So this is part of what we want to do as well. You know, I should be telling you this. I'm giving you all the secrets.
But I don't think anybody else in the vicinity in Phuket is got to be able to get that up and running before you do. So,
well, I hope so.
I hope so anyway. I don't think that'll be a big issue.
But the idea being that, Tank Throttle, and Tank Throttle Co. and the team here, we just want to offer a one-stop shop.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, these are still running. So you've basically made this part of the world your home. I mean, it's fair to say after 17 years now, not the whole time in Phuket, but it's 17 years in Thailand.
Yeah.
And since you arrived, you've got yourself a Thai wife and family.
Yeah.
So you've got even more reasons for staying, I would say.
Yeah.
And you've obviously settled pretty well here in this part of the world. And there's a question I have a bad habit of asking, or a good habit, I'm not sure, of asking most people that I talk to is if they're pining for home, wherever it is they come from, whether it's from Australia or South Africa or the UK or the States.
Yeah.
And I feel obliged to ask you the same question. If you're feeling homesick and longing to get back to Belfast, and to give it all up here in Phuket, in Thailand.
Yeah. Well, I actually come from a small town outside Belfast called Newtownards.
Okay.
You could say, so Newtownard. There's definitely family and friends that I miss there.
Sure.
For sure. And without a doubt, I would love it. I would love to see more of them.
Yeah.
But if I'm homesick and want to move home, the answer would be no. No, definitely not. Having been here so long, it's this has become my home.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy to be here. I'm very, as I can say, Thailand for me, it's become very much my second home. Having been here 18 years, it's pretty much, it's more than half my life. I forgot what age I am.
More than half, yeah, of course.
More than half my life, for sure.
Almost your entire life you spent here.
Almost. But I wouldn't change it for the world. And as I say, it's, I have a wife here now. We've been together for 14 years.
Okay.
We have a 12-year-old son called Jack. And he's very much a part of Tank Throttle also.
Is he a bike enthusiast as well?
He's a young biker in the making. He actually wants one of these.
Oh, really?
Hunters, yeah. So.
I think the monkey would be more his format probably, and we're sure.
Well, he's the same height as me, if not.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't met him yet, so I just assumed he'd be a bit smaller.
Yeah.
Shorter.
But he's, so I'm very fortunate to have a family, and, and we all get along very well, and Thailand and Phuket is my home now.
Yeah, it's great. Well, if you had said you were pining for home, you would have been the first of my guests so far to say that. But so I wasn't really expecting you to say that. But
I'm happy to hear everyone was honest there.
I think they were. They were. Yeah. So I wish you every success with this new venture.
Yeah.
And I'd love to come back. I'm thinking anyway. I'm down south myself because of the smoke up north. That, in my opinion, is about the only real downside for being based up in the north of Thailand, is this sort of 2-month so-called smoky season.
Yeah.
Which people like me who are very privileged and fortunate enough to be able to escape come down south in order to get away from.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say is what I'd really like to do next year when I'm down south again, probably because I'm assuming the smoke will still be coming back next year like it did last year.
Yeah. True.
And it would be great maybe to look in again and do an update next year.
You're very welcome anytime.
Yeah, and that would probably be in this time of the year, around about April, I guess, next year, when we still have the smoke up north.
Yeah.
And I'm sure things will have changed a bit when I come back next year, but we could do an update. That would be great.
Yeah, and that would be great to see you on your Interceptor.
Yes, and if the maybe needs to have a very good and detailed, loving wash and care when I bring it by.
Yeah.
So it'll leave looking better than when it arrived. So thanks very much, Scott, and good luck. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Patrick.
Thank you. Bye bye.